Hello and welcome to the Sun Racing preview of the Cheltenham November meeting in association with Betway. I'm delighted to be joined by Templegate aka Steve Mullin and Chad Yeomans of Betway to discuss what promises to be a fantastic 3 days of action from Prestbury Park. First up, we're going to be talking about the Bet Victor Gold Cup, where Slate House for Colin Tizard heads the market after his very impressive victory at the track last time in the showcase meeting. Also taking him on a Sirru de Lac for the Williams clan. Won loads last season, comes here fresh, but as a very improving horse. And a smattering of others. Templegate, I'll come to you first. I know you're quite a big fan of the Williams horse.
Well, I'm quite a big fan of a few in this, really. I mean, it's good to have a knocking good race to start. It feels like the season starts now. The slight unknown is the ground, I suppose. I've seen various weather forecasts. I mean, it could end up quite testing, or it could be all right. You know what Cheltenham's like. That obviously plays a big part in it. There's quite a few around the head of the betting that you can make a case for, but you can also find holes in them as well. I mean, Sirru de Lac is one that I do like, despite the extra weight and the amount of progress last season. I just think Cheltenham form is the form you want to be looking for in races like this. Well, Festival in particular, but Cheltenham as well. A good run round there. I think winning the plate, I think that's not a bad pointer to this race. From years gone by, give that a good chance. Slate House, I mean, I wouldn't put you off that, but obviously this is a slightly tougher race, maybe.
He was staggeringly impressive.
He was, yeah.
I mean, I know it was heavy ground. Chad, bring you on this. I know it was heavy ground, and it was probably quite a weak race, but he did win it on the bridle.
He did. I wasn't overly impressed because I think when you win that easy at Cheltenham, it tells you more about the horses you beat than the horse you are. And I think we'll find that he had a harder race than what it looked. Cheltenham in heavy ground takes it out of a horse, despite winning on a bridle. And I think that we'll see that come Saturday when he stepped up to the next level.
Bigger, more pace on here as well. Jumping will come under more pressure. I mean, it's different.
Well, that's heavy ground, you just pop along, can't you? And
it is interesting though, because he has had a wind operation. He's clearly an improved animal now. And Colin Tizard has always said that he's up there with the best he's ever trained. So if you can put it all together, he's got to have a chance of what still looks, in my opinion, a decent enough mark. We've got to talk about a few others. Anything else you like in there, Steve? You said you got a few other fancies.
Well, Nuckanus, I thought, has enough quality for this.
Yeah, bit of a nutter, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I like nutters, and they're the type, and they often come good in these big races. Yeah. I think having run well again at Cheltenham before is a good pointer.
He ran well last time, didn't he?
Exactly. St Calvados, we'll see if he turns up. That could. I fancy him to turn the form around either way, just with the weight difference.
Should be worth mentioning at the time of recording, we're not entirely sure where he is going to run. Yeah. But if he does run off top weight, he won off top weight last time, you couldn't completely discount him again, could you?
Absolutely not, but it does have to find more, and maybe the Schlur is... The fact that they've put him in the Schlur might make you think that they think a lot of him, maybe, but we shall see.
Well, they've always kind of said they think a lot of him. Yeah, they tried him in the arc.
Exactly. I mean, Casablanca Mix, I believe, is popular with you.
Yeah, no, she was very impressive at Market Racing in the summer. I know it was a weaker race, but it was still decent enough field. Yeah. And she absolutely pulverised them that day.
Are you concerned about Cheltenham form? I mean, Raisin's flat, Cheltenham isn't.
A bit, but at the same time, she's improving fast. I know she's up 11 pounds, and she is towards the head of the weight, which won't help. But she's a lovely jumper. And you need that in this race because they do go quick, and they can put, as it showed last year when half the field fell, like, it can put you under pressure. Yeah. I'll give a mention to Guitar Pete as well. He's my big fancy. Won really well at Wetherby last time. Beat a good horse in second that day, and I think he did it quite impressively. He was third in this race last year when he wasn't really put into it until two later stages. The front two, Frodon and Baron Alco, had already gone clear, and I can see him running a massive race for a northern trainer who's at the top of his game at the moment, Nicky Richards. Chad, anything else you'd like to mention?
Well, we're going to have to disagree with you. We've got the same dress code, but not the same. Not the same in horse fancies. I really like Count Merrible.
Yeah.
Twiston Dave's got a fantastic record in the race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good second to Lost in Translation, who is never going to beat Lost in Translation at Carlisle. He's a Gold Cup horse, and my idea of a Gold Cup winner further down the line.
Yeah, I think many people would say the same thing, yeah.
Goes well at Cheltenham, finished second behind Kilbrickenstorm 2 years ago in a novice hurdle. Beat Le Broy in a novice chase at the November meeting, the Steel Plate and Selections novice chase last year. I think he's gone slightly under the radar. I mean, he's been very well supported this week. And I remember a few years back, 2006 to be precise, when Exotic Dancer finished second at Carlisle and then went on to win this race.
That'd be some piece of punditry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Comes to fruition.
and Count Maribel was second at Carlisle. I'm not saying that's the only reason I fancy the horse. I do think he's a very talented animal.
I think I'm right in thinking he's
Cheltenham course
he's off the same mark as when he was beaten last time.
Yeah,
by the lost in translation. And you'd think if they both ran to their marks, he should actually be slightly higher.
Absolutely. I think he's been overlooked. Really do. To go back to the earlier point, Slatehouse, I think he's a really good horse. But I think last time we'd probably take him out, and there'll be plenty of good days for his owners going forward. Sierra de Lac improved way too much for me, and if he wins this first time up off 150, you've got to look at him as a Ryanair. He'd be favourite for the Ryanair, there or thereabouts. On what we've seen,
yeah, absolutely.
It's nuts. Spirit of the Games, I think, is awfully short, 7-1.
I agree with you. I do.
He's got a very good record first time up, and obviously Dan Skelton in handicaps. You can never kind of oversee what he does, but on that form, if you're going to back Spirit of the Games at 7-1, you've got to look at Highway 101. Highway 101 beat him behind Kill This Art, who's now 155 rated chaser.
Indeed, yep.
Earlier in the year in January. Highway 101 is £1 better off for that now as well, and he's just over double the price. So you've got to back Highway 101 if you're going to back Spirit of the Games.
Chris Gordon, underrated trainer as well. He knows his onions.
Absolutely. And he definitely does. And he had a very well back winner yesterday at Lingfield.
He did, yeah.
20s into 4s. And sluiced up.
Yeah, you said he didn't know anything about it afterwards. But
wow, yeah, of course, I believe that one. But yeah, so to recap, Count Maribel is the one, and Highway 101.
Great. I do think if you're going to be the first 5 or 6 in the handicap and you're winning this, you are going to be looking at a kind of Ryanair favouritism, at least be up there for the big races, because you're going to be in the 160s, aren't you, if you're going to be up there. One that we should mention is Us and Them for Joseph O'Brien. He's about in the 11-1 mark, I think. Second in a whole host of Grade 1s last season. He never quite made it. His jumping just wasn't really good enough.
He
does stay well, and he's got a big engine. This extra trip could see him in a better light. I wouldn't read too much into his re-appearance run, which wasn't too bad. He came third, but it was, he's going to come on for that. Joseph O'Brien is just, he can't do anything wrong, can he?
No.
He's got a Breeders' Cup winner the other day. He's had an unbelievably impressive maiden hurdle winner a couple of days ago. Like, he just can't do anything wrong.
Dodgy jump around Cheltenham, though, as always.
It's
maybe
a worry.
Somewhere like Newbury or somewhere like that would suit
I completely agree. But there's no doubt he would have been schooling for his life.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just can't really discount him. I do think it helps to be up with the pace in this race, and therefore I think Casablanca Mix hopefully will be there or thereabouts, as will Guitar Pete, who likes to be held up, but hopefully not too far off the pace. So those are my two. Templegate, you're with?
I'll go for Knocking Us, I think, at this stage. I might change my mind by Saturday morning. I do think Sierra de Lac could step forward again, but the price is pretty short at this stage.
Lovely, and we've seen yours already. But
yeah, Count Maribel and Highway 101.
Excellent. Hopefully we've provided you with some winners there. Next up, we're talking about the Schlur Chase, the Grade 2 2-mile extravaganza. Many good horses have won this race in the past, and if they all line up this year's field looks extremely good as well. Defi de Soy coming into it, having his first start in open company after some extremely good performances in novice company last year. Takes on the likes of So Royal, Alan King's lovely horse, who never seems to quite find enough at the finish, but has oodles of class. And also Politlog, who was second in last year's champion chase for Paul Nicholls, a wonderful jumper, who will no doubt give his all again. There are a few others in this, but those are the main three to concentrate on, I would say. Templegate, thoughts on this?
Well, looking forward to seeing Defi de Soy. Philip Hobbs isn't the type to go shouting from the rooftops, but he seems to be very excited about this horse. I mean, I think he's putting it in the champion chase, the Gold Cup, the Grand National, everything. I think he thinks it's a wonder horse, and that might not be quite true. This 2 miles is a slight issue, maybe, because you would think he's tailor-made for the Ryanair if we're falling into the trap of talking about Cheltenham in March before we've had Cheltenham in November. But that's obviously 2.5 miles-ish. I know Hobbs has said that soft ground and 2 miles could be ideal for him. He'll obviously have him wound up, but there are other cup finals coming, I suppose. But he's just a class horse, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him. Politologue goes well fresh, doesn't he? This is his track as well. But I'd like to see Defi de Soy win. I haven't got all kinds of anti-post about him. But
do you think the drop in trip is going to be a hindrance, or do you think he'll be fine with it?
Well, Philip Hobbs thinks he'll be fine, but in an ideal world, you'd like him to around 2.5, wouldn't you? But again, I keep seeing these weather forecasts saying it's going to rain, and I don't know if the weather's come to Cheltenham yet. But if there's plenty of digging here, obviously it's a punishing finish at Cheltenham, and they'll be going 100 miles an hour. So if you can stay further than 2 miles, it'll obviously be an asset.
Absolutely. Chad, coming to you, what do you think?
I'm all over Politologue.
Okay.
Paul Nicholls is very, very bullish about him. He says he's in the best form he's ever had him at this stage of the season. He goes well fresh, as you mentioned. Second in the champion chase, as you mentioned. There's more plus points for me. I like Betway. Obviously, very good winner of the Triumph a few years ago. Had a very difficult second season over hurdles. His novice season over fences last year was very good, but beat Lost in Translation twice. It's proved now that Lost in Translation is just... Look? But over 2.25, 2.5, Lost in Translation is a 3-miler, and looks like it's going to be a bloody good 3-miler at that, really. I just get a feeling 2 miles is going to be too quick for him, and Politolog is tailor-made for 2 miles at Cheltenham with a bit of cut in the ground. First time out. I think he's a stonking bet.
Oh, fantastic! I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
One thing I would say about Betway is that last year, I have to say, one of my few good anti-post tips for the season was Betway, because I actually said I thought he'd be a really good horse over fences, but I was disappointed first time out because he jumped so badly and almost tailed off at Cheltenham. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
That is the only worry for me, because maybe he's just a bit not quite as alert as some of them when he's going fresh. I mean, I could be wrong. He might just have needed the first run over fences. You just don't know. But moving out, I think dropping back in 2 miles against two horses who have proved themselves at this level could maybe find him out a touch. I think he's going to be winning either the Ryanair or maybe in the future even the Gold Cup, who knows. But I think 2 miles maybe catch him out, and I'm more inclined to side with So Royal if the rain doesn't come. Yeah. I know you said earlier that Alan King will not run him, or probably won't run him if there's too much rain. I don't know. If there is rain, he probably won't run. But if there isn't rain, then he's got a chance, and he's got a really good chance on his third last year's champion chase behind Politolog. But he came there swinging and actually thought he was going to come and win the race. Couldn't quite get on terms with obviously Altior, and then Politolog outran him a little bit towards the end. But I think if Daryl Jacob can just hold on to him a bit more and save enough energy for the end, then I can see him going extremely close and maybe even winning this. I do think it's between So Royal and Politolog. I think Betway could just get found out a touch. But we'll see. It's an absolute cracking race. And the others worth mentioning, simply always runs well at the track, always runs well in this race.
I think he'll be playing for third or fourth again.
I agree. Calvados obviously might run. He also might run the Bet Victor Gold Cup off top weight. We're not entirely sure yet. If he does run, I think he's probably got a few pounds to find.
Yeah, he's fit now.
He's fit. He is fit, and he likes Cheltenham, so can't discount him. But it does look really between the trio.
The big three, and it's a race. I know we like to bet in every race, of course we do, but it's a race to watch really. This will really set up each horse, you would think. How their campaign's going to go, because there's even talk of Betway, so I don't know if they're still talking about the King George, or maybe that's off the agenda now. But I think this will tell us a lot, this race, even though there's only 3 possible.
No, I think you're absolutely bang on. I'm going to side with So Royal. You're sticking with Betway.
Yeah, I'll stick with it.
And I'm going to go Politolog, and if you're going to back it at 9-4, I'd recommend also backing it for the Betway Champion Chase at 20-1, because if he wins this, he's going to halve in price.
Absolutely, with Altior not in it.
And if Chacun Pour Soir goes up in trip, that'll be, instead of backing a horse at 9-4, you might as well back one at 20-1 and have a bigger price selection or something.
Excellent, and that is the Schlur. Last but very much not least is the Greatwood Handicap Hurdle, the 2 mile absolute belter of a race that always sees some very good horses come out of it. This year's handicap looks as exciting as ever, with Benny's Bridge heading the market for Fergal O'Brien. Fergal, who's been in most extraordinary form recently, and this horse sluiced up at Cheltenham last time. He's taking on the likes of Monsieur Lecoq for the Williams clan, who also run Sierra de Lac on the Saturday. Kel Dastin, Gumball, Red Force One, Project Blue Book, and Humble Hero, alongside many others. Come to you, Templegate, again first. Thoughts on this? Do you think, what do you think of Benny's Bridge, first of all?
Extra £10. I think he's obviously a good horse. He's obviously deserves to have more weight on his back, but in a race like this, you're normally not looking for something with so much weight. It was a very impressive win last time. I can understand why it's being backed, but I think quite a bit more to find, I would say, from that mark. And there's quite a lot of nice progressive types in this. Red Force One is the one I'm particularly keen on. I thought he ran absolute cracker at Ascot last time. Gumball nicked it really. I was very pleased. I was on it that day, so that was good. And I was shouting at the TV as the lead went down and down, but I don't think he'd be able to do that up the hill at Cheltenham.
No, I agree.
Also they know his game this time, so I can't see them letting him nick such a lead.
And Red Force One is massively unexposed, much more than Gumball.
And he was finishing like a train, so the hill should suit him. Just only had a couple of runs over hurdles, not long had a breeding up. I think there's a lot more to come, and I quite fancy this.
Lovely. What about you, Chad?
I tend to agree. Going from the top, Benny's Bridge, I think 2 from 2 at Cheltenham. but I just think he's probably hit his hilt. He's hit the hilt now.
Yeah.
Up £10 for that week for winning a week race.
This is a lot more competitive, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Humble Hero. I can't believe it's so short. In all fairness, he wasn't home and host when he was 4-9 and fell at Ludlow last time.
He's single figures, isn't he?
And he's 15-2. I think he's very short for what it is. But again, Dan Skelton, big handicaps to Cheltenham. It's always one that bookmakers would rather have on our side. Don't get me wrong. Caldestan, I think, might run a big race off top weight. 4-year-old, got probably the classiest horse in the race.
Yeah, I agree.
But that 4-year-old top weight soft ground could be a bit of a stopper. But no, I'm a big fan of Red Force One. Bryony in the saddle. Similar profile to Brampoor, who won it for Same Connections. Harry Derham was actually in the saddle that day, claiming 7. Finished as Brampoor actually won the Ascot race that Gumball won, and Red Force One finished second in. So they've kind of followed a similar path, much improving. I mean, they ran him in the Adonis last year, so it shows they thought he was a decent juvenile, clearly improving. I think he'll certainly take some beating. I think 12-1 is a huge price, and at a bigger price. Another Dan Skelton, of the other Dan Skeltons, Mahayed, winner of the county hurdle a couple of years ago.
Top weight, isn't he?
Top weight. I imagine Bridget Andrews will ride to take off £3, but loves Cheltenham, goes well, and just think he might run into a place.
Okay. Nice, very, very nice. Very nice, I should say. I'm a big fan of a horse called Project Blue Book, who's been around for a while, John Quinn's horse, JP McManus owner. I think he was unbelievably unlucky last time not to win at Wetherby. If you get the chance, do watch the race, because it was the most extraordinary contest. He kind of came there swinging with the lead and then suddenly had different ideas and ran out with the second last, I think, and handed the race to another horse. But he's obviously back to his best, because it's great. He'd been in the doldrums for a while, and to see him come back, has that light, he's got that zest, got that verve for life. He's rediscovered his panache for the game, which is absolutely excellent to see. I think he's got a lot of class, and I think he's on a very decent mark at the moment. He's on about 141, I think, which is, he's won off a similar mark before. He's obviously just coming into himself, and I can see him running a big race. He's been second in the Swinton last year, so clearly likes a big field, likes a fast pace, and I can see him going very well. I agree with both of you about Red Force One. I think there's nothing not to like, really, and I do think he's a big price. Brian obviously gets on well with him after last time. Possibly should have won him last time, but they all clearly have a good relationship. And one other to mention for me is a horse called Countista, who was third in the county hurdle last season, so another who likes these big fields. Still got a very nice weight. Didn't run a great race at Fairyhouse last time after that, but I think that can be overlooked because it was in Ireland, it was the end of a season. Nikki Anderson wouldn't be running it if she didn't think she had a good chance, and I can see her going close. Zanza 2 won at Newbury last time, but I think he's too erratic for me. And I think it's going to be between Project Blue Book and Countista for me. Templegate?
Red Force One.
Red Force One and
Red Force
One for you as well. Great stuff. Well, let's just quickly go on with our best bits of the entire weekend. Anyone got one straight to hand? But I know you're going to say.
I really fancied a horse called Graceful Legend in the 3 mile Big Books hurdle on Saturday. What I didn't realise when I backed that about midday today was that it was running today and it won.
Yeah.
And in the same race, I backed Golan Fortune
at
33-1, and I just think Golan Fortune is massively overpriced on Saturday, and punters should back that accordingly.
Okay, lovely. What about you, Templegate?
Well, I really like Red Force One, as you may have gathered. I also, one of my favourite horses in training, Coggery's running again in the Grade 3. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win, but he will be thereabouts again, and he'll be a good price again, and hopefully the ground isn't as bad as it was last time.
Well, that's what cool
when he ran an absolute belter, and he was right there until the very end, and then the ground just did for him. I think at each way I wouldn't hesitate.
Great, and I'm going to stick with Guitar Pete in the big race of the weekend, because I just think he was so impressive at Wetherby last time, and he was an unlucky third in this last year. Looks to have a massive chance of putting it all together and not being held up too far off the pace. Lads, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
An absolute pleasure this week, and hopefully provided you with some winners at home on what promises to be a fascinating and most intriguing weekend of action.